In today's health headlines, one diet and exercise combination can dramatically change your metabolism, how academic performance is impacted by sleep, and how children born by C-section may need 2 doses of the measles vaccine. Joining me is Dr. F. Perry Wilson, Associate Professor at Yale School of Medicine, Yale Medicine physician. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Lifestyle habits are the most difficult to change, but a study found that time-restricted eating combined with high-intensity interval training yields dramatic health results. Tell me about that.
This was a super impressive study, a relatively small one, just about 30 women, all of whom were overweight, and they got randomized to time-restricted eating, which people often refer to as intermittent fasting. So, you can only eat for 8 hours a day, or high-intensity interval training, which is this exercise where you're doing a lot of work for like a minute and then a 30-second rest and then a minute that's really hard and a 30-second rest, or both. So 2 really tough interventions. But what they found was really dramatic effects in terms of both weight loss. Over about 12 weeks, the women in the combined arm had lost more than 10% of their body weight, but also things like cholesterol levels, which were cut in half in the group that did both of these things, which is, better than often what we see even with medications. And so it reminds us that lifestyle interventions really are the backbone of health, but they are tough to do.
Certainly. Adolescents are not getting enough sleep, and it seems to adversely affect their academic performance. This doesn't sound like a surprise.
No, and this is something we've hit on right here before, and maybe it's because I have a 14-year-old at home and I worry about this a lot, but it's really clear that our teenagers aren't getting the recommended 8 to 10 hours of sleep a day. What this new study of about 1,000 teenagers shows us is the link not only to not getting enough sleep, but to sleep variability in terms of academic performance. And so both getting less than the recommended 8 hours of sleep, but even having a sleep schedule which was quite variable, where you're going to bed kind of late on some nights and earlier on other nights and moving around, even that, even assuming you got enough sleep, that variability led to worse academic performance, with about a 30% higher risk of getting at least 1 D on your report card in these kids who had a lot of sleep variability. And so we really need to work on sleep hygiene with our teenagers, and they've got a lot of things distracting them from going to bed at night, that's for sure.
Including the cell phone.
Absolutely.
All right, and finally, a study found that children born by C-section may have lesser responses to the measles vaccine. What do we know about that?
Yeah, this is a really fascinating area that is just coming into the fore, looking at how people respond to various vaccines in terms of the immune response. And a pretty thorough study done on around 1,500 newborns looked at a variety of factors to predict how they would respond to the measles vaccine. And being born by C-section showed that the immune response was not quite as robust, to the point where the authors suggested that kids born via C-section might require 2 doses of measles vaccine. This is probably because C-section births by nature are somewhat cleaner. Those babies are not exposed to the same bacteria that babies delivered vaginally are, and that can have complex effects on the developing immune system that we're still learning a lot about.
Yeah, we'll see if that goes into effect. Very interesting. All right, yeah. Dr. F. Perry Wilson, thank you so much for being with us today.
Anytime.
Have a good one.